We're going to do Twinkle Twinkle. We're ready for those stars to come out, so everyone get their fingers out. Get it ready. Are we all ready? Here we go. Twinkle, twinkle, kochavim, shining in the shamayim. If you say Shema tonight, everything will be all right. If you say Shema today, everything will be okay. Yay, that was beautiful, yes. And are we ready for Shabbat candles? Everyone get their Shabbat candles. You can either have your Shabbat candles like this, or you can have your Shabbat candles above your head like this. You can do whichever one you like. Are we ready? Here we go. Shabbat candles, burning bright, burning bright. Challah on the table, it's Friday night. It's Friday night. Let's do it again. Here we go. Shabbat candles, burning bright, burning bright. Chalot on the table, it's Friday night. It's Friday night. And it's time to make our challah for Shabbat. So everyone, we can't going to make too much because we don't want to make it for Pesach, but we're going to make challah. So here we go. All together now. I made a little challah, I made it by myself. I put it in the oven, I put it on a shelf. Now listen, little challah, don't you go away. I need you for my Shabbat, so please be sure to stay. But oh, it looked so lovely, and oh, it looked so nice. I had a little nibble, I had a little slice, and soon before I knew it, the challah wasn't there. The cupboard shelf was empty, the cupboard shelf was bare. Oh no, where's my challah gone? And now everyone, we're going to sing the Khadodi. We all know it, yes? So let's join in together. I want to hear it really nice and loud, please. All together, here we are. L'chadodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabla. L'chadodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabla. L'chadodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabla. Khadodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabla. We're going to sing the last verse together, so we're going to stand up and we're going to turn around and we're going to sing. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzahala, toch emune am segula, boi chala. And we turn around again. Boi chala. All together. L'chadodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabla. L'chadodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabla. Beautiful. And now we're ready for Shabbat. So we're going to sing Shalom Aleichem all together. Everyone remember this one? Here we go. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ay, 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 Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ayay. Bachem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ay, ay, Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzeitzchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzeitzchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzeitzchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now it's time to sing Adon Olam. So, let me adjust the camera a little bit. Here we go. Adon Olam Hashem Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Li'ed Nasa V'chefto Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'hu Yeh B'tifara V'hu Echad V'ein Sheni Laham Shelo Lahachbira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra V'hu Eli v'chai gali V'tzuchef li be'et zara V'hu nisi umanos li Menat kosi be'yom ekra Be'yado av kidruchi Ve'et ishan ve'a'ira Ve'imruchi geviyati Adon ali v'lo ira.
This is the story of Yaakov. Yaakov had to run away from home because his brother Esav wanted to harm him. So off he ran into the wilds outside. And as he ran along, it began to get dark because it was the night time. So he lay down and he took 12 stones from the place where he lay down and he arranged them around his head as a tiny little sort of house to protect himself just a bit. And as he was sleeping, he had a beautiful dream. In his dream, he could see a ladder, and the ladder was stretching all the way up to heaven, and there were angels going up and down the ladder, up and down, up and down. And at the top of the ladder was Hashem himself. And Hashem spoke to him and said, "Don't worry, Yaakov. I know that you're on your own and you're running away and you're frightened, but I'm going to look after you and everything is going to be fine. And I'll bring you back home and all will be well." Well, Yaakov was really, really pleased to hear this. And in the morning when he woke up, he looked around for the 12 stones that he put around his head, and he found they'd become one big stone. Well, he decided to set it up as a special sort of shul for Hashem, and he poured oil on the stone, and he said, "This will be my present to Hashem to say thank you for looking after me all the time." And that's the end of our story.
Hello everyone and Shavua Tov. We now move on to our next activity, which is anagrams. So anagrams are where you have a word, but all of the letters in that word are in the wrong order and they're all muddled up and all scrambled. And what you have to do is you have to unscramble all those letters and put them in the right order to find what the word is. So in our case, all of the words are actually names of people who appear in the Torah. Not just any people, but particularly people who appear in Bereshit, in the first book, which we are currently reading now. So what you have to do is go through all of the people, all of the clues in your activity booklets, look them all up, and you should hopefully be able to use all of the scrambled up letters to find out what are the names of the people that we're trying to find. And to help you along with that, I'm actually going to give you a clue for each and every person, for all 15 of them, and that will hopefully mean the clue alongside all the muddled up letters will make sure that you can get the right name. So we're going to start with person number 1. So person number 1 is actually the first person who was ever created. Who was the first man who was ever created? That's person number 1. And person number 2, we'll move on to person number 2. As with last week, feel free to pause the video if you need more time, take all the time you need, but we're going to keep on moving to person number 2. And person number 2 was the wife of that man, and she was the first woman ever created. Who was the first woman ever created? And moving on to person number 3. Person number 3 was the man who built a massive ark, massive boat to survive the flood, and the animals went inside the boat so they could survive the flood. What was his name? What was his name? And moving on to person number 4. Person number 4 was really the first Jewish person, the first of our forefathers, and he was the first person to realize by himself that there was just one God. What was his name? It's person number 4. What was his name? And now we move on to person number 5, and person number 5 is the wife of person number 4. What was person number 4's wife name? She was really the first Jewess, the first female Jew, the first of our mothers. What was her name? And moving on now to person number 6. So person number 6 was their son. So person number 4 and person number 5 were married. And what was the name of the son that they had together? He was the second of our fathers, of our forefathers. And then person number 7 was his wife. What was the name of the person who married the second of our forefathers? What was her name? Person number 7. And moving on to person number 8, you might see a theme here because person number 8 was their son. What was the name of their son? He also had lots of sons himself, some very famous sons, and we might speak about some of them in a bit. What was the name of, what was his name? What was his name? Now, person number 8 had a twin brother. He had a twin brother. Even though they were twins, they were very, very different. You might remember there was a story about the two of them that Rabbi Lister did last week for those who saw. What was the name of person number 8's twin brother? He was very big and hairy. He had big red hair all over him. So another clue for you there. What was his name? That's person number 9. And moving on now to person number 10. Person number 10 was, if we go back to person number 8, who was the son of person number 6 and person number 7. He was the third forefather. He had 4 wives, and one of them is person number 10. His oldest wife was person number 10. His first wife that he married was person number 10. What was her name? And she had a sister who was also married to this man, to one of our forefathers, and that is person number 11. So person number 11 is another one of our mothers, another one of our matriarchs, and she was also married to person, I can't say his name because I don't want to give it away, but she was also married to person number 8. What was her name? What was her name? Now, as we've said, we talked about person number 8 a lot. He's a very important person. Now, he had many, many sons. He had many, many sons. And person 12 was the oldest of all his sons. Person 12 was the oldest of all his sons. Who is person number 12? And moving on to person 13, he wasn't the oldest of all the sons, but he was really the leader. He was really the leader. In fact, from him came the tribe in which all the kings of the Jewish people, all the kings that we've had and will have in the future, they all come from this one person. They're all descended from him. That's person 13. And finally, oh, sorry, we have 2 more. Very exciting. Person 14. Person 14 was another one of his sons, was another one of his sons, and he had a very crazy life because he had to go down and live away from his family in Egypt, and then he rose up to become very powerful in Egypt, and he could interpret dreams, and he had a really amazing, crazy life, and that is person number 14. Can you work out who that is? Person 14. And then finally, for person 15, he is someone who has come up a lot in this week's Sedra and last week's Parsha, and he actually was the father-in-law of person 8. He was the father-in-law of person 8. I'll tell you who person 8 was now, because you hopefully have done it a long time ago. It was Yaakov. So who was Yaakov's father-in-law? And he actually wasn't very nice to Yaakov. He tried to trick him, and he tried to do all different sorts of tricks to him, and none of them really worked, because Hashem looked after Yaakov. But what was his name? What was the name of person 15? So hopefully everyone has got all of those names correct. The clues alongside all of the anagrams where the words were muddled up. Hopefully you've unmuddled and unscrambled all of those letters, and now you are on track and you have all your answers correct. If not, again, pause the video, go through it, or rewind it, go through it again, and hopefully you'll get all of the answers correct. Now, once you have done that, you will have a list of 15 names. And if you move on to the next page in your activity booklet, you'll see a word search which contains all 15 of these names. So you have to find the names in the word search. Again, I'd recommend take some time, pause the video, and have fun attempting the word search. Hopefully you can find all the names. Some of them are tricky. You've got to look very, very carefully. So hopefully you'll be able to do that now. And once you have finished your word search, so again, feel free to pause the video if you haven't finished it yet, but once you've finished your word search, the last task for the day is to make a family tree. But I don't just want any family tree. I want all of the names that we just said, all 15, except for the first 3, which were Adam, Chava, and Noah, because they lived a long time before the others. All of the names in a family tree, but I want to see your drawing skills. So for every person, don't just write their name, but I want to see you draw a picture or symbol that reminds you of that person. So, for example, as we saw in the story with Rabbi Lester, Yaakov famously had a dream about a ladder. So maybe for Yaakov, you'll draw me a ladder. And whatever else you can think of that reminds you of that person. I want to see all your best possible drawing. All your best drawing that you can do, and the family tree, see if we can get them all in order. Who's brothers with who's someone's father, who's someone's mother, who's married. Let's see if we can get them all in order, and that'll be an amazing thing to do. And once you've finished that, that brings us to the end of our Motsei Shabbat fun activities. I hope you all had a really, really good time, and I look forward to seeing everyone next week.